Hi, my name is Anish, working as Assistant Professor, the Department of Civil Engineering and Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. The course we are going to see is about infrastructure development, and the topic today is about the urban infrastructure. So, we'll first see about the Indian scenario with the urban infrastructure. So the first is the urban infrastructure scenario. So here we can see Indian urban population will grow from 26 percentage to 36 percentage of total population by 2011. So this is given by the 5-year plan of 2005 to 2011. So this is the projected population growth from that is from 26 to 36 percentage. So by 2025, 50 percentage of India's population will uh, live in cities, half of them in slum. So that is nearly 50 percentage of the population in urban area will be living in an slum. Okay. So this will place greater stress on existing infrastructure for water, power, urban transport, sanitation, etc. So already there is a crisis for these sectors, but by 2025, if it increases by 50 percentage, there will be a huge demand required for it. So more infrastructure has to be built and existing infrastructure has to be upgraded. So increase in the sales of vehicles due to this trend is shown below. So we will see that, and first we'll see the urban water supply scenario. As the we will see a chart showing the Indian infrastructure report indicating the water availability in urban setting has been decreasing over the years. So here urban governance three-tier system. So giving way for three-tier system. So categorizing each tier. So here traditionally the state government had a major influence on urban infrastructure. So state government has the major influence in the urban infrastructure. So no clear demarcation of or depot or uh, power distribution for existing between state and local municipal level. So there is no proper division of power from the state to the municipal level, and so state government ends up taking most of the decision regarding urban infrastructure. So uh, from this is the three-tier system. The and then the central government has also had a role to play, but this role mainly deals with providing tax concession, training and guidelines, and devoting central plans such as national urban transport policy, with schemes such as Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewable Mission. So this is the three-tier system. So what problems were they facing? Okay, so here you can see the problems with the earlier models. So before this, so funding for urban areas comes from the center or the state. Okay, so that is the main source of the funding. So due to lack of on the ground knowledge on the part of these agencies, the wrong groups or wrong projects often get funded. So this is one major impact on the failures, or the infrastructure. So which the project has to influence the growth of the economic, but it is directly influencing the influencing the level of infrastructure growth. Okay, so here conflicting program at the state and central level do not align, leading to misdirected flow of fund. Okay, so conflict between the state and the central. So the project may be approved by the state but not accepted by the central government, or the project may be approved by the central but not accepted by the state. So the funds will be provided, but the funds flow will not be directed to that particular project. So here bureaucracy at this level summarize the progress. Okay. So new models for urban governance. So here we can see the new models for the urban governments. In the earlier model, quality of service are likely to suffer. So uh, and preferable approach would be for urban local bodies. So that is what already the programs or the infrastructure developed area is getting well developed, but the slum does not get that much project utilized. Okay, so our municipalities to make their own decision based on their needs. Okay. So this local bodies will be having power or authorities to develop the required project that the local bodies needed, not directly from the state level. So ULBs could be democratically elected and could raise their own funds to provide service such as urban planning, water supply, roads, bridges, urban amenities such as park, etc. So these are all the provision that can be given by the urban local bodies. So ULBs, uh, where they can plan their own urban plan, that is do their own planning, water supply, uh, roads, bridges, urban amenities such as parks. So there might be a local development. So this new model is currently being adopted in policy planning crisis and is depicted in adjusted figure. So we'll see the 74th CAA, that is the 12th schedule scheme. There is 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, such devolution of power to local bodies. So this scheme will provide the basic communities for the uh, required people or the people that has to be reached. Okay, so here this act has been enacted for the development of local bodies. So ULBs will be in charge of the function depicted in the box in the next slide, so which has been taken from the Indian infrastructure report. So we'll see that report or the depicted box. So the 74th Amendment gives more power, responsibility, and the ability to raise funds, to control uh, revenues, and to deliver projects to municipalities. So, which gives direct control to the ULBs, where the ULBs can take their own decision in approaching the, as we have seen, the planning, transport or roadways or local parks, all those amenities or the decision can be taken. So municipal finance. So when it comes to finance, so main source of finance for municipalities are taxes, land tax, building tax. So these are the main source of fund where they are financed. So state governments mandates the tax rates. So where the state government, even though the ULB is taking all the funds, so the rate of interest will be given by the state government. So another source of finance are fund transfer from states and the center. So this can happen at the uh, discretion of state government. So State Finance Commission, that is SFC, is a body with responsibilities to ensure that municipalities have adequate revenue from their operation. So that is the State Finance Commission. Okay. So where they will have the adequate revenue for their operations. So state of municipal finance. So, what is the state of municipal finance? Despite the existence of various financing arrangements described earlier, previous slide shows that municipal finance are on average in poor shape. So, as there might be people who are not properly paying their taxes, or the rate of interest for that tax might be very less. So, as you know, previous classes we have seen that water is a basic amenity, so the government cannot charge that much amount for the uh, water or basic needed amenity. So most municipality rely heavily on grants to fund their operation and raise only a small percentage of their expenses. So they mainly depend on the grants which is to be given from by the state or the central government. They are therefore unable to spend adequately on infrastructure and services. So that becomes a drawback where the ULBs are not having proper adequate fund to do their infrastructure or services, the development of infrastructure. So in the upcoming graph, we'll see a large portion of their expenses is towards paying salaries. So you can see the employees has to be paid, so sufficient amount has to be paid for them. So that is one of the expense to the municipalities. Uh, and apart from that, they need to invest for the infrastructure development. So unless municipal government have greater control over raising money and deploying it, it will be difficult to improve the urban infrastructure scenario. So that is the main underlying factor that uh, the fund has to be raised by the ULBs, uh, so that there is proper funding for the development of the local bodies or the urban infrastructure scenario. So here we can see the 74th CAA and other policies approaches are stepping there in this direction. Okay, which helps the ULBs to get their own funding source. So that is the 74th Act we have seen previously. So next is we see the municipal reforms. So what reforms have been done? Model municipal law, that is MML, has been mooted. So under this law, municipalities be generate no should be able to generate power and responsible for the following system. So those systems are given below. So they have to generate their own power or authority towards the local bodies. So municipal bodies must have elected representatives and not nominees. So nominees should not be there. There should be proper uh, elected member. So municipal bodies must have ex, you know, executive power where they can execute the responsible or the uh, step they want to take. So guidelines for financial management such as preparing balance sheet, training on debt limitation policies should be provided. Accordingly, for different sectors should be maintained separately. So, and raising funds through taxes. So taxes provide the funds for the projects or the municipal ULBs. So implementing infrastructure and services. So implementing infrastructure and services which helps in uh, the urban development. So approaching small projects, not letting out only the small or the bigger project, not comparing that what impact it does for the environment. And then the last is regulatory oversight. So that is the municipal reforms. So what are all the other reforms that is done for the ULBs? So first is e-governance initiatives has been introduced in several states to make the process of interaction with government easier and to increase transparency and accountability of the government. Okay. So e-governance initiative has been introduced for several states. Okay, so process the uh, interaction between the government easier, sharing between neighboring states as well as the central government, so that there is a proper transparency and accountability is there. So through e-governance. So the next is UIDSSMT, that is Urban Infrastructure Development Scheme for small and medium towns. Okay, was initiated to improve the urban infrastructure so that the smaller urban areas will also be benefited by this e-governance or some other way of getting their funds. Okay, and then the third is the JNNURM. So that is the common or main reform or the government body. So Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewable Mission was launched recently to enable cities to improve their urban infrastructure. So this program provide both funding and incentives for the improvement. So it can be so this program allows the source of funding from the central government as well as the initiatives to improve. Okay, like subsidized works. Okay, so even for urban areas as well as urban or newly initiated or smaller urban areas. Okay, so, see in brief, JNNURM. So, the major theme of JNNURM are infrastructure, renewable, improved governance, and poor policies. Okay, so the scheme currently covers over 63 cities, spread over three tiers, and outlay of rupees 1 lakh crores uh, is been initialized for these 63 cities with over three tiers. So the infrastructure mandates extends to the following public services. Okay, so these are the public services where the JNNURM is directly being utilized for the 63 cities. So first is the urban transportation, like urban transportation like bus. Main source is the roadways, and second is water supply for proper pipe water connection uh, for the houses, and then sanitation uh, to give the access to sanitation, where we have seen that nearly 50 or no, 50% of sanitation is not available for major cities, and then city beautification and so on, so that the infrastructure may have been developed, but it has to be appealing. For that also they have invested amount through JNNURM. Okay. So here JNNURM financing. So the Ministry of Urban Development can fund in this selected cities under the JNNURM scheme. Okay, so directly not going through the JNNURM scheme, the Ministry of Urban Development can fund the project. So maybe roadways, we have seen the roadways, water, sanitation, beautification. So all these are coming under the urban development, which is funded by the Ministry of Urban Development program through JNNURM. So as indicated in the previous slide, the amount of funding is depend on the size of the project and the city in question. Okay. So what kind of tire it is coming, and then uh, what kind of a project, or how big or how important the project is, what development will the project give. So depending on that, the funding amount will be initiated by the Ministry of Urban Development through JNNURM, or from the funds from the JNNURM scheme will be applied. So here we can see the tier 1 cities will be funded only up to tune of 50 percentage, and will have to raise the remaining fund by themselves. Okay, so this is the tier category, tier 1, 2, and 3. We have seen that. So what use of that, we can see how they are distributing the funded amount for the project for the urban development. So tier 1 as where they are providing 50 percentage to the development of that particular city for any kind of a project. So remaining, the fund will be raised by themselves, by even by taxes or some other way of approach. Okay. So next is tier 2 cities. It is 30 percentage and 10 percentage for tier 3 cities. Okay, so the remaining fund has to be raised by their own state or the ULBs, where they'll be getting funded by the state government. So this is the category. Tier 2 cities will be having only 30 percentage, and tier 3 will be having only 10 percentage of fund. So this funding is contingent on enacting a set of reforms. So cities are therefore incentivized to raise fund themselves, and are encouraged to explore the private public partnership route in this regards. Okay, so we have seen this in the previous class also, the public private partnership, where the private companies can invest their own amount, and they can raise their own amount by the taxes or some other way of approach. So that initiative can be involved, so that the funds can be raised by that own local bodies or the state government. Okay, so initial amount will be given by according to the tier cities, so tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So accordingly, the remaining fund has to be raised. Okay. So mandatory reforms to be enacted by state ULB in order to be eligible for JNN grant. Okay. So mandatory reforms. Okay. That has to be enacted, okay, by the state local bodies in order to eligible for JNN grants. Okay. That is the fund that is granted by JNN grants, or maybe for urban development. Where they will be funded through JNNURM. So these are the enacted reforms. The first one is use of modern accounting system, so that there is proper transparency in the use of e-governance or GIS. So how the communication is going on between the state or the central level. And then the third is reform of property tax, so that the ULBs get more revenue. Okay, so property tax has to be enacted, so that, or reform, development of infrastructure, gives paves way for more useful life for the people who are living there. So they may increase the property tax, according to that they can get the revenue levy. And then the next is levy of user charges for services. uh, Fifth is ULB must be made in charge of local infrastructure delivery. So as we have seen, the ULBs are given power, so that the delivery of the projects to the development of infrastructure can be enacted. So sixth is decentralization and implementation of 74th CAA. Okay. So decentralization and implementation, so that the power doesn't accumulate in a particular area. It has to be distributed, so that there is proper uh, way of distribution of power, so that the project can be executed by the 74th Amendment Act CAA. So seventh is enacted of public disclosure law. And eighth is enacted of community participation law. And then the ninth is introduction of regulators. Then the last 10th is repealing of urban land ceiling act, rent control, etc. So these are some of the reforms that is given, uh, so that the JNNURM grants can be initialized to the state. Okay. So next is optional reform that need to be enacted immediately, but must be undertaken in the near future. Okay. Streamlining approval and permit procedures, uh, the proper approval or streamlining of the project approval and permit procedure has to be there, so that uh, the immediate enactment should be there for this to undertake in the near future. And the next is the rainwater harvesting by laws, so that the groundwater may be improved. So availability of water uh, will be raised. Okay, so encouraging PPS, that is private partnerships, so that the investment amount can be reached by the state government. And then the fourth is administrative and structural reforms. These are some of the optional reform that need to be enacted immediately. Okay, so that the in the near future, so that the infrastructure development is being implemented. Okay, so next is process for approaching project and obtaining funding under JNNURM. So the first and overall city development plan is created. So this is the process of approving the project and obtaining funding under JNNURM. So the first is an overall city development plan is created. So based on this, a series of detailed project report for specific project are created. And the last is based on these project. and MOA under JNNURM can be assigned between the center, the state, and the city for funding contingents on reforms. Okay. So this is the process of approaching the project, you know, by the state, city, or ULBs towards the this program. Okay, funding through this program. Okay. So, preliminary view on JNNURM, many cities are raising money required through issued bonding. Okay, example, Ahmedabad, uh, they are raising a fund through their issuing bonding, like projects or the PPP, where the private companies can be bonded, where they are to complete this project, and they can take the revenue or the fund by the after the project completion by taking taxes, or like road base, how the roads will be paid by the private companies, and later on they can extract that amount by tolling. Okay, so they have given here as an example. So others are looking at PPP example, auction for solid waste management in Chennai. However, such cases are relatively fewer. Okay, so overall, municipal finances are still in pretty poor shapes, and the 74 CAA and other reforms have still not having much effect. Okay. So from this we can see that this 74th Act is not even though the power distribution is there to the ULBs, still there is no proper uh, development or uh, improvement in the sector is there. Okay, the road ahead. So systematic change in required. You know, Mere reforms on paper are not encouraged. We need to ensure that too many agencies do not handle the same project, no duplication or fragmentation. That is, do not handle the same project. The companies or the agencies doesn't handle the same project, that means the funding will be wasted. Okay, so regulator implementation and policies makers exist, and they are independent. Okay, so stakeholders are involved for the funding. So capacity is built at municipal level, so that the proper level can be maintained. So performance incentives are and organization restructuring are emphasized. Okay, so reforms and municipal independence are promoted. So this is the road ahead for the systematic change in is required. Okay, so with these uh, changes, maybe there is a possibility of the uh, change in the reforms. Okay, so same as continued. So there needed to be independent between the policy makers, the implementers, and the regulators to ensure transparent functioning. So overall overlaps such as those shown below are not desired when structuring urban agencies. So this is one of the change required, so that the there is an independent policy which doesn't affect later on, so that when the project is being implemented, so uh, you know, so that and there will be proper transparent function. Okay, so this is the table representing where the responsibility of main urban service provider in Bangalore, how the PPP has went on for water sanitation. Solid on the first column, you can see the water sanitation, solid waste management, road infrastructure, public transportation and traffic, housing, town planning. Okay, this is just for reference taken from the uh, infrastructure development plan from the website. So it is given for the city Bangalore. So what service delivery they have done, policy making and regulation. Okay. So water sanitation they have given the Bengaluru water, uh, sewage and distribution municipality. So policies making and regulation. You can see the same service delivery is built done on policy making and regulation. So for solid waste management or BMP, that is municipalities and same policy making is done by the BMP municipality and regulation by the BMP. So same, you can see how the same ULB is taking in charge of all the uh, infrastructure area. So road infrastructure, BDM and BMP municipalities and RNB departments. So is done service delivered, and policy making is done between the BMA, BDA, BMP, and regulation is given by DA and BMP. So same goes for the public transport and traffic and housing town plan. So here, as a continuation, duplication wherein the same service or the function is, uh, you know, by several presented by the several bodies as described in the figure below is shown described. Okay, desirable. So with that, we have plotted this table, so taken as a reference. So how the duplication is done, we can plot it here. This area, the same project is being held by or done by the same different agency, so that you can see the duplication. So this is the idea framework can be followed in adaptation. The India infrastructure report. The physical flow or assured institution are strengthened. The public is involved and service are decentralized. So all these data are taken from the infrastructure development report. Uh, so how it can be reformed? Okay, this also given in the urban infrastructure report. So the roadblocks where they are directly influencing the reform agenda. Okay. So this you can take from the infrastructure development report of India. So thank you. With this, we'll close this session.